Ken, you are in LA, Yankees coming into town. What a beautiful time it is, a renowned rivalry. You talked a little bit about the Yankees and how they had a couple needs in the offseason and what they wanted to prove, especially, the way they hit against left-handed pitching. Talk a little bit about that and talk a little about, on the other hand, about athletes and how athletic they are, and they want to move them to the middle of the field. Talk about Jazz Chisholm. Why are they making him go to third base in a rehab assignment?
All right. Well, first of all, left-handed pitching, because that is interesting. You would think that last year, as good as their offense was, they'd be good against lefties, but they really weren't 12th in the league in OPS against lefties. And they brought in Goldschmidt with the idea that he would help. Now, it turns out Bellinger, left-handed hitter, is hitting lefties too. And Aaron Judge is ridiculous against lefties. His OPS is something like 1.600 right now. So they are doing a better job against lefties. And that was one of the things that they came out of the World Series last year thinking, okay, we need to fix that. We need to get more athletic. We need to get more strikeouts out of the bullpen. And they really have accomplished a lot of this, even while losing Juan Soto, even while losing Garrett Cole. Now, as for Jazz, it seems to me that when you have a player like him who is athletic, you want him in the middle of the diamond. That's generally where the best athletes play, in the middle of the diamond. No disrespect, Todd. But in the Yankees' case, DJ LeMahieu is comfortable at second, and they know Jazz can play third because he did that last year, and a pretty good job of it as well. So he is on his rehab assignment playing third base. The expectation is that he will be their third baseman when he comes back. And one of the thinking, or part of the thinking here, is that they don't know if they'll be able to trade for a third baseman. They may only be able to trade for a second baseman. So if DJ LeMahieu doesn't pan out, because of course he hasn't played much in the last couple of years, and they want to get a second baseman, then they can keep Jazz at third. This just increases the versatility. They can go any number of ways.
This is obviously the matchup of the Dodgers getting drunk after they won and talking on Mookie Betts' podcast. As a writer, when you go in, do you go in and you're like, all right, normally I have one microphone that I'm recording stuff on. I'm going to take two. Or do you feel like this is something that is completely under the bridge, like water under the bridge? Nobody's even going to really bring it up from a player's standpoint.
I don't expect to hear anything about that. And Chris Taylor, of all people, is maybe the most mild-mannered guy in the sport. For him to say what he did was really surprising. And maybe they were a little bit enhanced chemically at the time. I'm not meaning steroids. I'm talking about alcohol. So I just don't expect there to be much of that this weekend. It's not even June yet. Actually, it will be by the time the series is over. And it's early in the season. This is a regular season series. As for bad blood or anything like that, Judge put it best. He said, listen, they beat us. They beat us, you say what you want. And whether the Yankees have long memories about it, that shouldn't be what they're worried about. They should be worried about playing to the best of their abilities, which is something they did not do in the World Series.
Ken, you had in your notes column the other day that Seattle could be an interesting team to watch at the deadline. They have the game's best farm system, according to Keith Law. Jerry Dipoto, as we know, has it in him to be very aggressive. What do you kind of see them doing? I know it's still early, but we are kind of getting to the point where teams are drilling down and underlying names and they're making phone calls. What could you see Seattle realistically doing with a lot of that prospect capital?
They seem to be the one team that has a great need at first base. I believe they're 29th in the league at OPS at first base, or 25th, something like that. It's not good. It's down there. So that could be one area that they need to address or try to address. Right field is another, though they have Luke Raley coming back and maybe Victor Robles toward the end of the season. They still could use more offense. And their pitching is getting healthier now. Kirby's back, not consistent yet. Logan Gilbert working his way back. Bryce Miller will join them. So I can see them going out and getting a first baseman or a corner outfielder. I don't know that they will need to trade one of their best prospects for that kind of player. Depends who it is, of course. But the reason I wrote the item I did today was because they do have, as you said, Britt, this amazing group of prospects. Really, many of them are middle infielders. So if they wanted to trade one of them, they could probably get something pretty good. And I thought, well, the Mariners, they don't spend much money. Maybe they won't want to trade prospects. But no, my understanding is they've done this before. They did it to get Luis Castillo, and they did it to get Randy Arozarena. They will not be afraid to do it again.
Kratz, my pup was picky, not anymore with Spot and Tango Unkibble, and it is about 40% less expensive than frozen food. So we're saving in the wallet and we're making our pups happier.
Let's go apples to apples. I'm not cheap, but I don't want to waste my money on something that's good for my dog. This is perfect.
Yeah, they are very excited. Both Bella, Kratz's pup, and Penelope, my little pup, for Spot and Tango. You can get your pup excited too, and there's no more guessing how much to feed your dog either. Spot and Tango creates a custom plan based on your dog's age, weight, breed, and activity level. It's a nice little survey. So upgrade your pet's bowl with Spot and Tango Unkibble for a limited time. Go to spotandtango.com/foul. Use code FOUL to get 50% off your first order. That's spotandtango.com/foul, code foul for 50% off your first order. Spotandtango.com/foul, code foul.
I want to go back to the Dodgers and Dalton Rushing. We talked about it when they called him up. I felt like it was a bad move. Scott felt like it was a good move to replace Barnes with Rushing. But to me, you have a prospect in the minor leagues not playing, and now he's up in the big leagues and he's hit a small sample size, 250. Do you believe that there's a possibility that the call-up kind of shows, hey, we'll trade you a big leaguer instead of just a prospect, and that could have been part of the reason why they brought Dalton Rushing up?
I don't believe it is, Eric, after asking some people about this. It's kind of an easy interpretation, a logical interpretation to think just what you said. This guy's going to be their trade piece. But they designed their team so they would not need to overpay at the deadline. So they're not going to trade Dalton Rushing for a 1-year starting pitcher or even a 2-year starting pitcher. They're not going to trade him for a position player of any kind unless it's someone of comparable service and ability. And the whole thing is they don't expect to need starting pitchers or position players. They need a right-handed reliever, and they got one yesterday in Alexis Diaz. And that can be an ongoing thing. We'll see where they end up with that. But Rushing, in their view, is a guy who is going to give them the ability to rest Will Smith, who has had trouble in the second half the last couple of years. He's been really good again in the first half. Now they can rest him more. Rushing has an offensive capability that most catchers don't have, quite frankly. And next year, if Michael Conforto leaves as a free agent, they can maybe even put Rushing in left field, though they'll be reluctant to give up on him as a catcher. So I don't see him getting traded. And if anything, he is going to be part of their teams going forward.
Craig Kimbrel, he has a 1.54 ERA in AAA. There's been word about David Robertson too as well, maybe going to a team. Is there anybody looking for a reliever? I know there's a bunch of teams out there. I mean, I feel like he could fit anywhere right now with that kind of ERA. I know it's AAA, but think about giving this guy a shot. You never know what can happen.
There are teams looking for relievers, and Arizona comes immediately to mind, and there are others as well. Even Atlanta could use some bullpen help. But for whatever reason, no team has come for Kimbrel yet, and I don't know what his underlying metrics look like. Maybe they're not good enough for teams the way they are evaluating him right now, but he is succeeding at AAA. And for all those people out there, I know what they're thinking. Oh, Craig Kimbrel, he's washed up. He was really good in the first half last year. And I don't know if it was overuse or what. He did collapse in the second half. The Orioles did release him, but he kind of proved in the first half he could still be a high quality reliever. So I would expect at some point some team is going to contact his camp and say, listen, we're ready to bring him to the big leagues right now. And at that point, because he has a rolling opt-out, the Braves will have the ability either to bring him to the majors or to let him go. And at some point, I would think that's going to happen.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.